How was your experience moving from Oman to Bangalore?
So basically, I was born and brought up in Oman, and I've lived there for a huge part of my life.
What difference do you see between Oman and Bangalore?
There are quite a few differences, I would say.
Which part of Bangalore are you currently in?
Okay, so currently I live in this place called Koramangala.
Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I have with me my cousin Akansha.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
Most welcome.
And I will be talking to her regarding her move from Oman to Bangalore. She recently moved from Oman and she is in Bangalore right now. How was your experience moving from Oman to Bangalore?
So basically, I was born and brought up in Oman, and I've lived there for a huge part of my life. But when I chose to pursue MBBS medicine, I had to make the move to India. And the place where I did both my undergrad and postgrad from was Karnataka, post which I decided to work in Bangalore for some time to gain work experience. So that's how I ended up being in Bangalore.
So did you look at other options or was it only Bangalore? So let's say why particularly Bangalore?
So because I had adapted to the place, I had learned the language, was familiar with, the mentality of the people. It was easier to sort of establish a patient base in Bangalore. That's why I decided that if there was any place in India where I would be comfortable to gain experience, it would be more or less Bangalore. That was the first reason, you could say. The second reason was Bangalore has a lot of big hospitals, and there's a lot of opportunities for career growth, to learn a lot as a medical person. So I felt like it was the correct city for me to be in from a career standpoint of view. And that's how I decided to stay put for a bit, even after I finished my education. Like I said, to gain work experience. Over here. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In terms of the difference,
Yeah.
what difference do you see between Oman and Bangalore?
There are quite a few differences, I would say.
Let's focus on, let's say, housing.
Yeah.
In particular.
Yeah, so definitely Oman is a country which has a much lesser population compared to, any big city in India. So in terms of the space, that can't be compared at all, because obviously the kind of houses and the kind of home that I stayed in growing up was definitely much larger than, any home that I've stayed in India. I would say Bangalore is still one of the cities with the bigger homes, like the more spacious homes, compared to, I would say Mumbai, because the other place that I've stayed in homes is Mumbai.
Okay.
So I'd say between the two, big cities, Bangalore definitely has the bigger homes and the nicer spaces, I would say, because there's a lot of greenery, there's a lot of this natural element of sunlight and, peace. So I feel like the homes are a lot more serene and calm in Bangalore. But then the flip side of it is the traffic of Bangalore and the constant, noise because of that. So where I stay, it faces two main roads.
Okay.
So I'm always, experiencing that there's traffic on both sides, and for that reason I have to noise-proof my entire home, to avoid that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're living in bigger cities, you have that challenge
Absolutely.
of noise coming inside the house.
Yeah, and that was not the case in Oman. In Oman, it was like pin drop silence at every given point of time,
Right.
There's not much of hustle bustle. So in terms of like even the noise part of it, or the quality of, you can say life is a little bit quite different in both places. I don't think anything is superior or inferior. They both have their plus and minus.
Have their plus
Yeah,
and
but it's a very
minuses.
different experience, for both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me, which part of Bangalore are you currently in?
Okay, so currently I live in this place called Koramangala. It's by a mall and it's a gated community. And like I mentioned, it's got like two main roads on either sides of the community.
So basically it's a prime location.
Yes, so because of that, definitely I know that the rent that I would be paying would be definitely on the higher side of things.
Okay.
And there are many such places in Bangalore where you will find premium housing, but obviously the rents there would be higher. Many other places in Bangalore, there are PG accommodations or 1 BHK studio apartments, which are much more affordable and on the cheaper side of things, mainly student friendly and for people who are new to the city who've moved for jobs. So a lot of those people take 1 BHKs or studios, or many of them even take sharing accommodations. And that works out to be more pocket friendly. Of course, because you have to factor in other things like, expenses there, traffic, and then if you're someone who doesn't drive, then Uber costs, going out, eating out, all of that also adds to the, monthly budget. So, yeah.
So you decided to move to this community in particularly was because of your work, or what was the thing that most attracted you about this?
Right. So I've hopped two places of residence. So the first place that I stayed was also in Koramangala, but that was also a gated community. One thing that I was very particular about as a girl
Yeah.
staying there alone in Bangalore was that I wanted to be in a gated community with a good security system.
Right.
And I think my parents were also very insisting on the fact that I should be in such kind of a community. They didn't want me to be in any standalone home. Because of that, the first place that I stayed, it was a smaller home. It was a 3 BHK, and because of the size, I think that was sufficient, I could say, for 2 people. But however, it was just me because I prefer to stay alone and I would like a space to myself. Even if it has extra rooms, it's fine for me. So yeah, there was, I was staying by the place I used to go to college. So it was just like a 5-minute walk for me. So that apartment worked out very well for me. Because I didn't have to, stay on campus and have all those problems that, normal students who go to college face while they're on campus.
Right.
After I finished my post-graduation, my parents also happened to, move back to Bangalore at the same time to be with me.
Nice.
So we decided to move into a bigger space. That's when we explored another, 3 BHK apartment in another gated society in the same locality. So we pretty much liked the locality of Koramangala. We felt that it was very accessible to the different things that are important, to us.
Nice.
We moved to a different apartment, but in the same locality. But definitely, a much bigger apartment for the 3 of us, because all 3 were living together.
Oh, that's good. I've never been to Bangalore, but I'm obviously sure it would be something similar to what you have in Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, all those cities. I've never been there, but I'm assuming that it would be something similar.
Yes, it does have like a lot of similar features of the big cities.
Right.
But there is definitely intercity variation. Like Mumbai has a completely different aura altogether. Bangalore has a completely different vibe to it, and the same with Delhi. In terms of lifestyle, I think it's more or less at par with any other
city,
any other metropolitan city. And I think the struggles that people have, or the things that people say are more or less the same about
the same.
living in any big city.
So tell me, how did you search the house where you are staying or renting?
Yeah.
How did you find that out, and if you can help me understand, is there any website, or how do you go about this?
Okay.
For your search, how did you do that?
So mostly how I went about it was there was not much of information available online in terms of you can get to see what are the different properties, but you can't really get a feel of the property unless you just set foot there, or you go to the locality and kind of explore it yourself.
Was that something you searched online, or you were just going physically to a location and then try to find if they had something available?
So what happened with me is that when I first moved, like I mentioned, to do my education over there, to do my post-graduation in Bangalore. So where I was going to college, get to know about places around and homes around. And I didn't have a car, so I would go walking to most of the places. So that's when I discovered like there are few homes, few buildings and societies, and you talk to people and you understand that, oh, this has been around for this many years, and that's been around for that many years. And the first place I figured out through word of mouth, basically. I went and gave the place a visit. And luckily at that point of time, there were apartments on rent. So the first apartment that I stayed in was a fully furnished apartment, and it was on rent, and it was at quite a good price because it was the COVID time. So I think I got a little lucky with that. And that's what made me move into my first place in Bangalore. Also because it was hardly, like I said, a 5-minute walk to my college. So that worked out perfectly for me. The second time around, when my parents moved back to stay with me in Bangalore, was when we as a family had gone around and done quite a bit of research before zeroing down on this place. So we moved out of Koramangala also. We saw places in Indiranagar and Halsoor.
So when you were looking at these places, was there somebody helping you? Like, was there any agent involved, or did you do it yourself, or how? Were you in touch with the owners directly? How was that happening?
So luckily for us, we had family friends who stay in the same place, and they have their own home over there. So they were very familiar with the places around, and they also were very kind enough to offer to take us to different homes and show us around. So technically we owe a lot to that family, because they handheld us through the entire process of searching for homes. which, as people who stay in Bangalore would be aware, it's very difficult to do considering the traffic situation and taking out time from your busy schedule and coming and helping people find homes. It's it's something that I think I personally and my family very personally got lucky on.
Yeah, no, that's a very big thing.
Yeah. So we saw a couple of, like, at least I would say 20 to 30 homes in different parts of the cities before we zeroed in on, the home, and somehow all three of us felt like we would like to stick in the same area because that was familiar to us.
Right.
So that's how we bought our, we sort of
finally
moved
you
into our
settled
second
into
home.
that house. So rent wise, how much is the rent that you're paying for your current house?
Okay, so like I mentioned to you, currently my rent would be on the higher side because of the location. I pay anywhere between 1.2 to 1.4 lakhs a month. That would also include utility, which comes to, you can say, around 25 to 24,000 per month.
Okay, so that's already included.
Yeah, that includes your maintenance and electricity and
any overheads, like are you paying over and above?
No, nothing.
So your gas, your water, everything?
No, gas is separate. So gas, we have a cylinder connection. It's not
Okay,
so gas, you have to separately do the cylinder connection and you have to pay for that.
Okay.
But your water, electricity, maintenance of the building, the housekeeping charges, everything comes under this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about parking?
Parking is included.
So how many? One car? Two
Yeah,
cars?
for a single car.
Okay, single car parking.
Yeah.
Is that very common in Bangalore, or it depends?
Not usually. Actually, I think because of the space constraint, a lot of societies don't offer added car parking.
Okay.
I guess they would have two-wheeler parkings more commonly than they would have, four-wheeler parking.
Right.
But I don't think that it's a necessity for every home to come with a car parking.
Right.
They do try to offer it as much as possible, but I don't think it's a necessity the PGs or
not everybody
homes
requires parking, so it really depends.
Yeah, and Bangalore is a city which is, I think, heavily dependent on your Ubers and Olas, so there are people who prefer to use this rather than have their own vehicle to drive because driving, maintaining everything is like way more cumbersome than just using the apps.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And how about public transport? Is it good?
Or
is it still in the making?
It's still in the making. So the metro is still coming up. It's it's parts. It's made in a lot of parts, but a lot of parts are still not connected through metro. Like, for example, where I stay, it's not really connected by a metro. Okay. Public transport, in terms of, there are buses, but
buses are usually we've seen in India. It's not that common to going around and.
Sure, if you're someone who's used to traveling with that, sure. But if you're someone who's not used to, then possibly not. Yeah, so public transport wise, I would say heavily dependent on Ubers, on autos. And not much. Metro, yes, there is a certain sect of the population who are connected via metro, and that's great for them. But then there are a lot of places which don't have it as of now. So
So my next question would be challenges. Can you tell me any challenges that you faced during your process of hunting houses and in terms of finalizing your house?
I think the whole process of house hunting itself, it's a task.
Right.
Because more so because I didn't have my own personal vehicle, so I was heavily dependent on my family, friends, or using Ubers and Ola, and then going from point A to point B to point C, which is usually what happens in house hunting, became very difficult. So I think the commute and the transport for me, that was one thing which I really struggled with. Then of course zeroing on the place and sort of knowing completely. I feel like to a certain extent in property, there are a lot of things which are not very put out there. And it's only once you start living there, you understand that, there was this cost as well, and there was that cost as well,
Hidden costs.
Hidden costs. So a lot of opacity, I feel, still exists in, property. And that's why a lot of people dread nowadays even owning property. People just prefer to, rent it out and, move from one home to another home. So I think that was the other thing that was difficult. The third thing was, so again, this home, it was not fully furnished. And doing work and getting, work done and getting the ball rolling that way became very difficult because there were strict timings in the society to, do the work. So I guess, that whole process of finishing the home and making it a fully functional unit itself took around 7 to 8 months, which was again a struggle because, you know, we had to live off a single room, or sometimes we couldn't even live in the place. We had to move in with our friends. So yeah, that period where we were setting up the home was quite a bit of struggle for family and I. But after we moved in, I think it's been good so far. Obviously, with the few maintenance.
That's always there, and you know, something or the other keeps
coming up. So apart from that, overall, I don't have any complaints. I think it's been pretty peaceful. The other thing is this home that I have. It's very close to my workplace again. So for me, that was, I guess,
the most important thing.
Yeah, it was a boon because I save on commute. I can just walk to my workplace. So for me, that was the biggest thing.
That's the best thing you can ever have.
Yes, absolutely.
So
to in a city like Bangalore.
No, of course. That is true. If you're saving on something, it's always better.
Absolutely.
Having those overheads is always good to keep it minimal, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me something about your work.
Okay, so I'm a doctor. I am a dermatologist, and I work in a hospital called Super Health in Koramangala. So it's you can say around 3 to 4 months old, and it's a multi-specialty hospital. So I head the dermat department there, and it's like about a 10-minute walk from my home. So it's extremely convenient for me in terms of, you know, the place I stay and my workplace. I guess again I got lucky over there.
So I would also, if it's okay, give out your number to our viewers, and if anybody is looking for any consultation or they want to maybe book an appointment with you, definitely they can do that.
Absolutely. So if at all you want a dermat consultation, you can log in onto the Super Health website and you can book a slot with me. So it's a completely paper-free hospital. Everything is managed, you know, via virtual and online. So everything from your prescriptions, you would be getting them on your phone, and everything is supremely easily available and accessible. It's an experience. So not just for dermat, if you have any other health conditions, do come and check it out. It's a
But I haven't heard anybody going to that level.
Yeah, so I think AI in healthcare is a topic of discussion itself. So our hospital is heavily dependent on AI, and it's used it, I think, beautifully. It's integrated the medical aspect of life with, you know, technology in such a beautiful way that it's able to produce this really comfortable experience for a patient, such that a patient doesn't feel like it's actually coming to a hospital and waiting in those lines and, you know, getting intimidated by all of that, or feeling like hospital visit is like a waste of time. Here within,
that usually happens.
Absolutely. So this is completely solved for the patient problem of we have to wait for an hour to see a doctor, and it's just slotted into 30 minutes, and, you know, you come for your appointment, you visit the doctor, and you get prescribed the medicines or, you know, whatever, and then you're out of the hospital, and it's just in a matter of 30 minutes, no added and no minus time.
Very nice.
Yeah, so a wonderful concept which motivated me to join them, and and also the other thing is the place I live, so everything worked out.
Worked out for you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
It was great talking to you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
And hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, and do like, subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.